I call to order the meeting of the Planning Commission for December 17th, 2025. I now ask for a moment of silence. Commissioner Swigert, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Kayla, roll call.
Commissioner Smith,
Present.
View, absent excused. Swigert,
Present.
Ochoa,
Present.
Greggins,
Present.
and Chairperson Gonzalez.
Present. We have a quorum. Before we get started, we'd like to move it over or give the mic to Deputy City Manager Frank Quintero.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sir and Commissioners, I'd just like to share with you that tonight we have the opportunity to introduce you our new planning manager, Sam Roche. Sam comes from us, or comes to us from Madera County. We stole him, so we're very proud of that. He has private sector experience and also served as a planning commissioner in years gone by. Also with you up at the dais is our Chief Deputy City Attorney, Ms. Rhonda Lucas. And I do want to give a wholehearted thank you to Johnny Land, who served as acting planning manager for 6 months, and to Francisco Mendoza Gonzalez, who served as acting principal planner. And they did both a very worthy job and represented the city well in those capacities. So, sir, I'll turn it over back to you.
Thank you. And just reiterating, Francisco and Johnny did an amazing job, so thank you for all the support and guidance through the last 6 months. Welcome, Sam. We look forward to a great 2026 with all the projects we've got going on. I'm really excited about what we have going forward, so thank you, everybody. Kayla?
Members of the audience who wish to address the Planning Commission are requested to complete a speaker card available at the podium at the back of the council chamber. Please submit the completed card to the clerk before the item is called, preferably before the meeting begins. I would like to briefly go over the process of submitting comments to the Planning Commission. Please submit your public comment to the Planning Commission electronically no later than 1 p.m. on the day of the meeting. Comments received before the deadline will be sent to the Planning Commission and will be part of the record and mentioned as part of the public comment portion of the agenda. Material may be emailed to planningweb@cityofmerced.gov and should be limited to 300 words or less. Please specify which portion of the agenda you are commenting on, for example, oral communications or item number. Your comments will be presented to the Planning Commission at the appropriate time. Any correspondence received after 1 p.m. will be distributed to the Planning Commission and retained for the official record. To view video or listen to the Planning Commission meeting live, go to the city's website, www.cityofmerced.gov, Facebook Live, or Comcast Public Access Channel 96.
We now move on to Section C, which is public comment. Members of the public who wish to speak on any matter not listed on the agenda may speak during this portion of the meeting and will be allotted 3 minutes. State law prohibits the Planning Commission from acting at this meeting on any matter raised during the public comment period. Members of the public who wish to speak on a matter that is listed on the agenda will be called upon to speak during the discussion of that item. Kayla, do we have any requests to speak? No?
No.
Thank you. Thank you, Kayla. We now move on to item D, which is consent calendar, including minutes. Would the commission like to remove any items for separate consideration? Hearing and seeing none, we'll be able to approve. Does anybody wish to make a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second.
We have a motion to approve the consent entered by Commissioner Greggins, a second by Commissioner Ochoa. We now move it to a vote. And it has passed unanimously. Click that. We now move on to item E, public hearings.
Item E1, conditional use permit number 25-0017, initiated by Osvaldo Reyes on behalf of Ashvir Singh, trustee, property owner. This application involves a request to operate 2 food trucks within the parking lot at 61 West 16th Street, generally located on the northeast corner of H Street and West 16th Street, within a general plan designation of regional community commercial and a zoning classification of central commercial. This is a public hearing.
Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm Matt Livingston. I am the assistant planner, and this is conditional use permit number 25-0017 for a multi-food truck park at 61 West 16th Street with 2 proposed food trucks. So here's the location map. As you can see, this site is at the northeast corner of H and West 16th Street. And as you can see in the project site, the 2 small blue squares roughly represent where the trucks would be. Here is the street view of the site. This is from the corner of H and West 16th, so that's what the site currently looks like. Here is the proposed site plan. As you can see, the 2 locations of the trucks, and then as far as access into the site, there's 2 entrances and exits from H Street, and there's also 1 entrance and exit from West 16th Street. And then immediately to the north of this site is an alley, so there's also access from up there. So some of the conditions related to safety and operations, they are required to have at least 2 trash receptacles per food truck, so in this case it'd be 4. Condition number 10 prohibits temporary signs. Condition number 11 limits the hours of operation between 7 a.m. and 9 p.m., which is standard in our code. Condition number 15 gives the city the right to revoke the CUP if excessive service calls are made to the police department. Condition number 22 prohibits them from selling alcohol, and condition number 23 requires them to post no loitering signs on the site. So some of the other more relevant conditions, condition number 7 requires them to comply with the county's environmental health department. They are also required to comply with the city's water quality control division requirements for disposal of grease and kitchen equipment. And condition number 21 requires them to provide access to indoor restrooms for the food truck employees, which would be provided in the existing commercial building that's on the site. So after discussion, the Planning Commission may approve, modify, or deny environmental review number 25-0039, which is a categorical exemption, and conditional use permit number 25-0017, subject to the 35 conditions in the staff report. And I'm here for questions, as well as the applicant and their designer, if you guys have any.
Commissioner Greggins?
Yeah, can you bring up the site map again?
Sure. That one, or?
No, go to the street view. That's close enough. I don't know, about 2 years ago, maybe, we did a CUP on the corner of Main and H for a multi-food truck. Is that CUP still in play? Because nothing's been done on that.
Yeah, so that one, so I did look that one up. That was approved in August of 2021. So it is still in play. If it's not activated within 5 years, I believe it's voided. But that one is still approved.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Ochoa?
I don't think it was mentioned, with the no loitering signs, there's not gonna be any seating here for people to stay and eat.
No, so there's no proposed seating at this point. And we do have a condition where if they wanted to change that, it would require us to review it and approve it. But at this time, there's no proposed seating.
And the building is still boarded off like that?
At this moment, yeah. I don't want to speak for the applicant, but I believe they are in the process of reopening it into, it used to be a car lot dealership.
Oh, okay,
So I believe that's what the process is right now.
okay, got it. And I know there is another food truck plaza, I think we've asked this before, but just to get a general idea of how many food trucks that we've approved, spaces that we've approved in the last year? Because I know there's a food truck plaza right there on MLK and 16th. So that's about 2-3 blocks away, and I think that one sits full right now. So just to get a general idea of how many we're doing.
Yeah, I don't have the exact number off the top of my head. I did look before. There's currently 5 multi-food truck parks that have been approved. But like Jeremiah said, the one immediately to the north of this one's not currently being used. But I don't have the number of individual trucks off the top of my head.
Okay, thank you.
I don't have a question or I just have a comment, just going forward, if we can have those numbers with prior to our meeting, right? Or when we have our meeting, not just on what's currently there right now, but projected. Because I think what Emmy mentioned is there's 4, but I think it's listed to have up to 8 in that particular plaza that we approved. And if we have multiple plazas, we have 8 here, 4 that can potentially be on the same block, 5 across the street, then we're gonna end up having approved like 30 food trucks just for the 16th Street corridor, right? Just for that street. And there's no way to pull that back, right, once we've approved it. Is that,
Yeah, I mean, that's correct. I mean, there is the condition where if there's, police department issues, that it's possible to be revoked, but
yeah,
without that,
understood. Are there any other questions from the commissioners for our planner? No? Okay. This is a public hearing. At this time, I will open the hearing up for public comment. I invite the applicant to speak. If the applicant will have a total of 15 minutes, including rebuttal time. If you wish to reserve time for rebuttal, please conclude your remarks to give yourself time. Does the applicant wish to say a few words? No? I have a question. What if we have a question for the applicant? Can we ask a direct question? Yep. What is the plans for that particular building? So I know it's boarded up right now, and you said that we might turn it back into a car lot?
Needs to come to the microphone.
Oh, can you please come up to the mic? Sorry.
Yes, that particular building will need to stay as a car lot.
Okay, so the
had-
food truck is just temporary until we get because the food trucks are in the car lot, right?
Yeah.
And so when we go move it back to a car lot, the food trucks would just go back to being a used car lot. So renting out the spaces is just temporary.
Now,
that-
I believe the owner's plan, and you could speak to it if you'd like, is to have a car lot, but also have areas for food truck operation as well.
Yeah, that would. Can we go back to our map? Can you pull up our map, please, Matt?
that one or?
Go the other one. So, there we go. So the plan is to keep these food trucks here and then also have a car lot here at the same time?
No, that wouldn't, we couldn't do that here. They already said that. Yeah, there was an attempt to make it a convenience store, and we found out through building department that it had to stay as a car lot, because that was the original permit from like the 70s.
I gotcha.
So we have to keep it as that, but he does want to put food trucks on the site.
Okay. Commissioner Swigert?
I'm just a little confused on the parking. So there'll be cars in here as far as, for sale, and then we're gonna have the 2 food trucks.
Well,
I'm just,
sorry, sorry to interrupt, but this original site plan was submitted when we initially wanted to make it into a convenience store. Since then, we found out we couldn't do that, so this overall site layout would have to get revised to be more of a car lot layout.
gotcha, okay, thank you.
Commissioner Ochoa, did you have a question?
Yeah, for the city attorney, are they allowed to have a conditional use permit to use this as a food truck plaza and then still utilize the space as a used car lot?
As long as they meet the terms of the conditional use permit, Yes.
Are there any other questions from the commissioners for the applicant? Nope, all right, we're all good. Kayla, is there any opposition?
No.
And then we ask the public if there's any questions, or we go back down to. Okay. Is there any other questions? Yeah, okay. Commissioners, are there any other questions? Before I close it for, will we bring it back? Commissioner Swigert?
I guess my question would be, I would like to see a revised plan for a used car lot, and
Yeah. Understood, yep.
If I may, just one thing to keep in mind is the car lot usage isn't going to be what is in question. It would be the food trucks. The car lot is a by right use in this particular situation. And I just want to make sure that everybody does keep that in the back of their head when they're making the decision. So when we look at this, we want to make sure that, yes, is this going to cause a traffic any safety situations and layouts? I just want to make sure that everyone's looking at that, and that the layout that they do for that car lot will be a by right, and just keep that in mind.
At this time, we're going to close the public comment and bring it back to the commission for discussion. Commissioners, are there any other comments internally? Commissioner Ochoa?
Yeah, not necessarily about this project, but I think we have been approving a lot of food trucks, and like you've mentioned before, I think it becomes, I don't want to say the conflict of interest is not the right term for this, but like you were saying, if we keep approving these, there's going to be 20, 30 on the same block, and I don't think that's a very good use of space.
Understood.
So I'd like to see, because we have been approving a lot of food trucks in the last couple of months.
We have, and my thoughts are that we get an outline map of what the potential would be before we approve any others going forward, or even this one, of what is the likelihood, or what have we approved for actual food trucks to be out there, and do an internal revision of what do we want that area to really look like, right? If that aligns with our general plan.
So if I'm understanding, you're directing staff to go ahead and do an internal research to evaluate the ordinance and the amount of food trucks to see if it's something that we need to reauthor?
That would be a suggestion.
I think a meeting or two ago, we were actually provided a list of how many food trucks or CUPs have been approved in the area, not exact food trucks, because those change depending on the day sometimes. So on that though, I'm a little concerned that we have a CUP on the opposing corner. You know, it's good for at least another, year? You know, and if the property owner decides to act on that within the next year, then we got almost a half a block. There's 2 restaurants on both sides. You got one on the corner of Main and H, and then you have one property over from there as well. So that's just concerns of mine. But the project I'm not against. I mean, everybody's got to do business, but it's a concern.
Well, like I said, what my staff can go ahead and do is we can go ahead and make a map showing the current food trucks that are available. So that way we can have a really good idea of what we're looking at in this development of food trucks. And then if we need to lead it to a bigger conversation, then we can do that. But we'll get the map and then we'll get it out to you guys and then we can go from there. How's that sound?
That sounds great. Though my question would be, does this stop, or do we continue this item, waiting for that because we have questions on this? Or do we take action on this item and then get that at a later date?
I'm sure our attorney is going to want to jump in on this, but the one thing that I would say is right now we're operating under the current ordinance, and I would want to make sure that that's what we're doing moving forward. We don't want to make any decisions with we may go ahead and change an ordinance, because if it doesn't get passed by city council, then we've just held up the process.
Sam is correct. We have to consider this project consistent with our existing ordinance, and it does, per your subject matter experts in planning, with these conditions in their opinion, meet the qualifications under our existing ordinance for issuance of the conditional use permit. That being said, it is your prerogative and your role as commissioners to approve, deny, or we can continue it over. That is really your guys' purview. But we do have to judge it by the existing standards on the book and the existing ordinance as written.
Commissioner Ochoa?
Yeah, definitely would love to see those numbers and kind of how much we're approving with this particular project. I understand we got to use the ordinance in front of us. So with that, I'll make a motion to approve environmental review number 25-0039 and the conditional use permit number 25-0017.
I'll second the motion.
So you want to adopt the resolution as written?
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Ochoa and a second by Commissioner Greggins. We now go to a vote. And it has passed 4-1. Thank you. Now move on to item E2.
Conditional use permit number 25-0018, site plan review permit number 25-0010, and minor use permit number 25-0017 to approve the land use development standards and allow for a deviation from the residential design standards for multifamily development for an apartment complex with approximately 160 units. The subject site is generally located on the south side, south of Cardella Road, between El Redondo Drive and Horizon Avenue, initiated by Cesar Perez on behalf of ISEA International LLC property owner. This is a public hearing.
Good evening, Commissioners. I am Valeria Renteria, Associate Planner for the City of Merced. The project I have before you today is conditional use permit number 25-0018, site plan review permit number 25-0010, and minor use permit number 25-0017 for a new 160-unit apartment complex located approximately half a mile east of North Highway 59 and south of West Cardella Road. This map shows where the project site is located in a city-scale context towards the northwest quadrant of the city. Here is a closer map of the location of the project. As mentioned previously, it is located approximately half a mile east of North Highway 59 and south of West Cardella Road. The site is approximately 10.7 acres with single-family residential zones surrounding the site, as well as county jurisdiction to the north. This site was annexed into the city in 2003 as part of the Ferens Creek North annexation. This annexation incorporated approximately 152 acres of land into the city limits. The subject site has a current land use designation of neighborhood commercial and commercial office, which are primarily for commercial uses, but multifamily residential development is allowed with approval of a conditional use permit. Here is the proposed site plan. The 2 acres to the east will be reserved for future commercial use, The rest displays the layout of the apartment complex. The entrance and exit would be from El Redondo Drive at the southwest corner of the project site, and an emergency access only from Cardella Road is towards the northeast corner of the apartment complex. This site plan proposes 13 apartment buildings with 4 different building designs and a community building. These are the elevations for 2 of the larger buildings. The site plan proposes 2 two-story buildings with 16 units each and 1 3-story building with 24 units. All units within these buildings would have 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. These are the elevations for the smaller buildings. There would be 6 3-story buildings with 12 units each and 4 2-story buildings with 8 units each. All units within these buildings would have 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. These are the elevations for the community building proposed. A public hearing notice was sent out to property owners within 300 feet of the project site 3 weeks prior to this public hearing. 5 letters in support and 1 in opposition were received to staff prior to this hearing and were also sent to the commissioners. Some conditions to take note of within this project would be condition number 11, that would require the applicant to work with the fire department to determine if each building shall have its own independent connection and fire control room. Condition number 22 and 23 address the contribution necessary from the developer for traffic signals at Cardella and El Redondo, and at Cardella and Horizon and the time said contribution is required. Condition number 28 requires all undeveloped areas to be maintained free of debris and weeds. Condition number 29 conditions the developer be responsible for their portion of frontage improvements along El Redondo Drive and Cardella Road. Condition number 30 conditions the developer be responsible for their portion of frontage improvements along Horizon Avenue. If the developer decides to subdivide the 2 acres of commercial land, the frontage improvements of Horizon would be a responsibility of the developer of the commercial site. Until that site is developed, the developer shall install compacted road base for emergency access. Staff sent out a memo earlier today requesting the Planning Commission consider a change in condition number 25 of the resolution. This change would allow the applicant to submit additional storm drain analysis to the city engineer after Planning Commission decision. This memo was also posted in the City of Merced website and printed today for the public. After the Planning Commission opens and closes the public hearing, the Planning Commission may approve, modify, or deny environmental review number 250040, which is categorical exemption, conditional use permit number 250018, site plan review permit number 250010, and minor use permit number 250017 with the suggested modifications of condition number 25. That now concludes staff's presentation. I am now available for any questions. The applicant and engineer is also here if you have any questions for them.
Thank you, Valeria. Commissioners, are there any questions for the project planner? Commissioner Ochoa?
Hello, great presentation, thank you. And I know I did email you a couple of questions earlier, so thank you for getting back to me on those. I do have a couple other questions though. On El Redondo Drive, this developer will be in charge of completing that out and then also to the end of their project on West Cardella, correct?
Correct.
And so will they, I can't remember off the top of my head, from 59 to West Cardella, that street does not currently connect, right? It's empty land right there.
Not all the way through the end of the project site. I think it finishes right where this project starts. So they would be responsible of their frontage of Cardella.
Got it. And I can't remember correctly, is this the same project that we approved? Is there another one on the adjacent corner that we approved? Because I can't remember off the top of my head.
For a residential subdivision, yes.
Yes, so that's gonna be to the left of this? Or is this the same project?
To the west,
Okay,
yes.
okay. And so that project, again, I can't remember, I can't see the visual map. But is that gonna connect to the existing West Cardella Road, that project, whenever that does get developed out?
So the one closer to Albertondo Drive and
Yeah, the one to the
Cardella?
left of that.
So that one is an approved residential subdivision, so they would be responsible for their frontage of Cardella, but the road as it is now, if you can see, it's like that one corner that goes north, that's where the road is at now.
Got it. See, I only asked because that road is absolutely awful, and I think we've talked about this last time when approving the last project, is there's, I think, 3 different jurisdictions that have control over that road. And so I would like for it all to be done at once, but that's probably not gonna happen. My other question is, I know I had asked about a fence, if it was gonna go on the subject line right here to cut off the current subdivision. You said it was gonna be a chain link fence, correct?
A wrought iron fence,
A wrought iron fence?
yes.
Okay. Oh, yeah, okay. And I think that's all my questions right now. Thank you.
Are there any other questions for for the project planner?
Just a quick question. I don't know if it's for the project planner or for the developer. The wrought iron fence, that's going to butt up against the wooden fences of the current property owners on like Anise Court and those courts that back up to it.
Assuming that their fences are right at their property line, yes.
Okay.
That's how it's proposed in the site plan.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes, I really like I rode out there the other day, and when I do get something like this, I usually ride out and I see, so I know I love the project, and it's gonna be a wonderful thing for Merced to have with the UC out there, and I like it, and I rode out there and I took a good look at it. That's perfect for the students, you know, someplace. Only thing I was concerned about was the response time for the fire trucks to get out there or the police department. Do we have anything going on with that for the people in the community out there? That's probably kind of far out.
So this project was sent to them as part of our regular development review process, and they did not express any concerns.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Greggins?
Yeah, on the parking spaces, the 73 parking spaces, I guess that would be on the south side that butt up against the cul-de-sacs. Is there anything in the plans for covered parking, or is this all open-air parking?
As proposed now, it's all open.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions for the project planner? Commissioner Ochoa?
I don't know if this is the appropriate time to ask this question, but have permits been pulled on the other project? Or should I ask that at a different time?
Other project, the one that's to the
left
of it?
Yeah. Has there been any activity on that particular project?
Oh, okay. So we're trying to gauge the timing of when
Yeah.
both of these projects,
yeah,
are they
yeah.
gonna be going on at the same time? Yeah.
We can
Not that
provide
I'm-
that information to you later.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions for the project planner? No? Hearing and seeing none. This is a public hearing. At this time, we'll open the hearing for public comment. I invite the applicant to speak. The applicant will have a total of 15 minutes, including rebuttal time. If you wish to reserve time for rebuttal, please conclude your remarks to give yourself time. Does the applicant wish to speak?
Good evening. My name's Rick Rowland. I'm project manager for Golden Valley Engineering, and I just need to make a correction to the development standards that we submitted. I said 20-foot setback for all the buildings on all sides, when actually the east side, which is next to the commercial property, will only be 10 feet. That was it.
And it was just for the correction. Are you
Yes.
here to answer any other questions?
I can,
Yeah,
if not the owner's here, so developer.
okay. Giving the update that we just received, are we gonna need to do anything on our side for you folks in planning?
As long as it's meeting the setback approvals and everything else that are outlined in the ordinance, and I believe this is in a PD zone, we should be fine.
Thank you, just wanted to confirm that. Commissioners, are there any questions for the project planner? Again, this is not the owner, this is a project planner from Golden Valley Engineering. Hearing and seeing none. Thank you so much for your time today, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Again, this is a public hearing. Kayla, is there any opposition?
No.
No, no opposition. Is there anybody in the public who wishes to speak on this item?
No, but I do want to make a note that we did go ahead and post those letters, as Valeria mentioned, that we did receive regarding the item, and you received it on the dais as well.
Yes, thank you. Is there anybody in the audience who wish to speak on this item? Hearing and seeing none. At this time, we're going to close the public comment and bring it back to the commission for discussion. Commissioners, any comments internally you'd like to talk about? Commissioner Greggins?
For one, I'm in favor of the project. I think it's something that that area definitely needs. And I do like the development and how they backed their project up to the existing courts. They put the parking there, so that's gonna take away a little bit of the privacy concerns from the current residents in that area. So I think that's great, and if we could see more of that, because that's been some of the most contentious issues that we've had when it comes to developments here in Merced. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Other than that, I'm good.
Commissioner Ochoa?
Yeah, again, to reiterate, I am in favor of this project. Personally, I don't like when projects don't have two entry and exit ways, but as Commissioner Greggin said, if the fire and police sign off on it, that's okay with me. I think a big thing for me is that West Cardella Road, especially just thinking for the future, because that road is pretty bad, going further down to the left. So that's why I was trying to see what the timing would be between the two developments, to see if it's something that the city may take over their portion, and then maybe with the I guess the state for Highway 59 access right there. But other than that, I really like the project. I think it's going to be a great thing for the city.
My thoughts as well. All right. At some point, I'll entertain a motion. Well, I make a motion to approve environmental review 25-0040, conditional use permit 25-0018, subject to conditions in the staff report, site plan review permit 25-0010, and minor use permit -25-0017.
I second.
We have a motion by Chairman Gonzalez and a second by Commissioner Swigert. We now move to a vote. And it has passed unanimously. Thank you, folks. And that concludes our items for public hearings. We now move on to item F, which is business. And I believe we have some updates here. Go back to my program.
Item F1, workshop on the Virginia Smith Trust specific plan, including background information and updates on upcoming applications. The subject is located south of the University of California Merced campus boundary on the east side of Lake Road, approximately 5,000 feet north of Yosemite Avenue.
Good evening, Commission, members of the public. Francisco Mendoza, Senior Planner. The item that you have before you this is a workshop. It's for informational purposes only. You won't be taking action today on anything. However, we did want to sort of arm you with this information, as you will have 6 maps that will be coming before you. We're expecting possibly the second meeting in January, large lot map and 5 small lot maps. So this is VST, Virginia Smith Trust. Some of you may be familiar with this project, but we just wanted to acclimate you or reacclimate you with the project, as it may be new to some of you or new to some of the members of the public, but this is a project that's been ongoing for over 30 years. As you'll see, it's located south of the university. It's a community plan. It's very dynamic. It has a lot of amenities, parks, open space, a town center, and so forth. It was essentially designed to complement the university, but really is intended to be a benefit for the entire community. So throughout the presentation, we'll look at some objectives. So we'll look at the site context. We'll go over some aerial images, a location map. We'll look at the development timeline. So we'll assess, what's been approved previously, what's pending, and what still needs to be approved moving forward to make this project come to fruition. We'll go over some background information. We'll look at a land use map that's got the phasing development plan. We'll also sprinkle in some information about the specific plan and the development agreement, which essentially set the parameters for this project. And then lastly, we'll look at the upcoming applications, the 6 maps that I mentioned before. So city scale context map, everything with the city limits is bounded in white. The subject site's located in the northeast part of town. It's shown here through the star. So this was annexed back in 2024 through a shoestring annexation that connects the subject site out to G Street via Bellevue Road. Here's a location map that takes a closer look at the subject site. So the location, the subject site is everything bounded in turquoise. So 655 acres. It's located just south of the university campus boundary. Surrounding uses include Merced County jurisdiction to the south, east, and west, mostly agricultural uses and some oversized lots. So looking at the timeline, some history, kind of working our way from the top to the bottom, older to newer information. So VST was established in 1975. At that time, they probably didn't know the impact that this project would have on the community. But the intent was to partner up with the Merced County Office of Education and you use proceeds from the land, from the agriculture, to create scholarships for students within the local high schools here. In the 1980s, the UC Regents started scouting locations for the 10th university, the finalists being Madera County, Fresno County, site 10 miles east of Clovis, and Merced. And in 1995, the UC Regents ultimately selected Merced to build their 10th campus. In 2004, a community plan was approved, so that was a collaboration between the city and the county. In 2008, wetland permits were issued by both the federal and state government that essentially address quote unquote concerns regarding wetlands and fairy shrimp, endangered species. Essentially required a conservation easement of 6,500 acres northeast of UC Merced. So that cleared not only UC Merced, but also the VST site. In 2020, AB 3312 was signed into law by the governor, and that allowed the acceleration of the annexation process. Not only did that allow the annexation of the UC, but also allowed the annexation of the land around it, which includes the VST site. In 2024, City Council approved the annexation, the specific plan, and the development agreement for this location. And now kind of looking forward, again, early 2026, you'll be looking at some maps. After that, there'd be the formation of the Community Facility District, which would pay for services and maintenance, and then final maps, building permits, and so forth. So this is where we are now in terms of the timeline. As you can see, the approvals are, they're shrinking from something large to more granular level. So a lot of the heavy lifting has already been done. Again, VST's mission is to create scholarships through a foundation that was created in 1975. They partner with Merced County Office of Education. Originally, that was only intended to last about 30 years through 2005. However, with this proposal, they would be able to expand the program. Currently, they generate about $175,000 per year. With VST, when it's ultimately done, they'll be able to generate between $5 million and $8 million per year and expand the program so that it's countywide to other cities and unincorporated high schools as well. So this here shows a community plan that was approved in 2004. So sustainability is a big part of the project. In terms of water, air quality impacts, in comparison to other usages in the community, water would be reduced by 30% compared to the typical Merced household. There would also be a reduction in vehicle miles traveled, greenhouse gas emissions by 25%. And a lot of that has to do with the walkability and transit-oriented development nature of the project. So affordable housing, this project does have all types of housing and housing stocks. It includes market rate housing, affordable by design, and some affordable housing as well. The development agreement includes two possible options. The first shown at the top is more of a multi-pronged approach where the developer would establish a UC Workers First program for housing for UC employees, faculty, that's modeled after other programs around other UCs. There would be a workforce housing incentive program, down payment assistance program, and they would also partner with Self-Help, a nonprofit that would do affordable housing through sweat equity. The other option, which is a little bit more simpler, more straightforward, is paying in lieu fee, and that's something that's currently allowed through the city's affordable housing policy. If they were to pay the in lieu fee, it is projected to generate between $6.5 million and $8 million towards a community pot that would allow the development of affordable housing. This slide here shows the phasing plan. So there's two phases for this project, so phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 2 is everything that's outlined in red. Phase 1 would be everything west of that going out to Lake Road. So the maps that will be coming before the Planning Commission early next year would really just focus on phase 1. And phase 1 has 5 subphases, so phase 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, and 1E. So those would be the 5 maps you'd be looking at. You'd also be looking at what's called a large lot map, which would break up, this area into larger chunks via the collector and arterial roads that would be developed on site. To give you a sense of the land use and how it's balanced out throughout the specific plan, residential uses, there's over 400 acres that are dedicated to that at varying densities. Commercial uses, there's 44 acres dedicated to that. Open space and parks, about 115 acres. For schools, there's about 20 acres, which may be 1 school, could possibly be 2 schools, and the rest is dedicated towards roads and infrastructures. Shifting gears, looking at some of the infrastructure within the project site. At the top is a photograph of Lake Road. So Lake Road is, it's very iconic, very scenic. It's the gateway towards the UC coming from the south. And although it's, really loved by the community, there are several safety concerns. And so with this site, as it gets improved and with VST, Lake Road would be transformed as shown at the bottom, and the cross section at the bottom, where there would actually be dedicated sidewalks for pedestrians shown on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side there would be a class 4 bike lane known as a cycle track. It's one of the safest bike lane classifications that exist, and there would be a barrier between the vehicles and the bike lanes. There would also be lighting improvements throughout Lake Road, and also a median with landscaping. So this slide here looks at Campus Parkway. So Campus Parkway, connects the university to Highway 99. Where the star is located, there's actually a shift with how Campus Parkway is designed, and I'll show that here. So everything that was south of that star, or University Avenue, would look as shown in the cross section at the bottom. So 4 lanes, again, would connect out to Highway 99, and then it goes essentially like a road diet where it goes from 4 lanes to 2 lanes north of University Avenue, connecting towards the university. This image here shows the cycle track. Left-hand side is an example of the massing and scale of some of the housing development. Top right shows jogging trails. Bottom right shows the town center, and these are all conceptual. Cluster units. This is a housing type that's unique to VST. Don't really see it out here in the community, but VST has done their market analysis, and they feel that this would be something that'd be very popular for the community. So cluster units, the way it's defined, essentially 2 lots facing the public street with either 4 or 6 lots behind it. There's a shared driveway. Each lot has its own garage. Each lot has its own backyard space. And this is a concept that's actually already been reviewed by our fire department, and they are comfortable with it. There's quite a bit of amenities throughout this project. As you can tell, it's a very big project, almost, just a little over 650 acres. In terms of parks, again, about 115 acres. There's 39 pocket parks, 2 community parks, and a regional sports complex. The image shown on the bottom right is that of a conceptual community park, and that came from the specific plan. And this here shows the sports complex, which a portion of it would be developed through phase 1, and then the other portion would be developed through phase 2. As you can see here, there's some baseball fields, softball fields, soccer fields, and some walking trails. This slide here shows the rec center, farmers market. Again, these are conceptual. Again, this shows the town center, conceptual as well. Architectural language. The specific plan has pretty clear and robust direction as to what the architecture is going to look here in this area. And a lot of that's going to be dictated by where the development is occurring. So on the northern portion of VST, given that that's right next to the university, they're going to want that language to essentially complement or match the university. The university has what's called brutalistic architecture, raw materials like concrete, glass, and steel. So it's going to incorporate some of those elements with the architecture along the northern portion. The eastern portion, which is facing the Sierras, will have more of a rural or agricultural architectural style. And then other portions will utilize architectural styles that are already part of the city. So craftsman homes and Spanish Mission style homes and some other styles as well. So the image on the bottom, again, taken from the specific plan, is an example of what would be constructed on the eastern portion of VST. So it's that agrarian architectural style defined by things like board and batten exterior. At the top is bungalow architecture, below that craftsman architecture. Again, these are architectural styles that you see if you were to walk north of 18th Street, you'd see a lot of examples in downtown. These were very popular in the early 20th century. At the top is an example of contemporary or mid-century architecture. This is probably an example of what you would see along the northern portion of VST. And at the bottom is a Spanish Mission architectural style. So again, you'll be looking at a large lot map and 5 small lot maps. Just it's really, really important for us to just communicate that, there's been a lot of work involved. There's been a lot of thought put into this development. The focus of those maps is really, there's not a lot of discretion. The focus of those maps is, are they consistent with the specific plan, and are they consistent with the development agreement? And so staff has been working diligently for several months, along with engineering, building, planning as a team, as a unit. We've been trying to do all that work for you to make sure that it's consistent, and we've been working very hard with the applicant and their team. So that concludes the presentation. The report includes 2 attachments. That would be good use, good resource. That includes the attachments being the development agreement and also the specific plan. So if you'd want to get a head start on some of those maps, you can refer to that. And obviously that's a public document, so that's available to the public as well. That concludes my portion of the presentation. I'd like to invite the applicant and their team if they'd like to say a few words, and then if you have any questions, we can go ahead and take those.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Stephen Peck. I'm with Peck Planning and Development. I've been a representative for the project for about the past 5 years. With me this evening is Steve Tejan, the Executive Director of VST in the Merced County Office of Education. First, I want to thank staff for their dedication on this, not only the current staff, but over the past 5 years, we've worked closely with the staff at UC Merced, the county, and the city, and the LAFCO staff. So I've been doing this for probably about 50 years now. You can tell by my gray hair. This was probably one of the most satisfying things because we actually got everybody together. We solved problems that hadn't been solved up until then. Funny issues like, where's Campus Parkway going to go? The Hunts wanted it on one place, UC wanted another. We had to sort of bend and weave through there. But through the process, we worked together on it. Some of you who were around at the time remember that the county actually adopted this project first. We weren't quite sure we were going to get the annexation till the Assemblyman was able to get AB 3312 done. So we actually did a concurrent development project. So everybody on the county staff worked closely with the city staff. We worked closely with every department head and tried to anticipate questions that we've been dealing with for the last couple of months, such as when Phase 1A goes in, what are the improvements that have to go? What roads, what sewer, what water, what power? What are the roads going to look like? So that we can hopefully avoid situations where some of those decisions, those cans get kicked down the road. So your staff is having to figure out, well, is this where we do it? When do the parks go in? Now that we have people in the neighborhood, we told them they were going to be parks, but where are they? We've anticipated, I think, most of those questions and also dealt with the expectation that was kind of handed to us is that this isn't just another subdivision or development project. This is the support for the university. It's the other part of it's a hand in glove. The project was not just conceived as an individual project. VST, the property that was given to VST was thousands of acres, about 6,000 acres. What VST now has left is about 650 acres. And the expectation is that we'll create a world-class community to support a world-class university. So I think we've gone into some great detail that's really helped us out over the last couple of months. Things like architectural variety, so that as you drive down the development, when you go from one build to another, there's not only some continuity, but there's some variety. It looks like it might have been built over 50 years. So it looks like the way that your downtown is. Not everything looks exactly right, but they sort of have that style to them. We've tried to anticipate things like what's the next edge on energy conservation, greenhouse gas emissions. So our EIR went into great detail on how do we address those issues and how do we do them responsibly? What should a Lake Road look like? What are the expectations of the rural residential folks across the street? So now we have a median with trees in it. That road's gonna slow down because now there's a median. There are gonna be left turn pockets. One of the other things that we are putting in that it's different maybe from Merced is that we've tried to make very limited use of block walls. We're using them where the noise situation dictates it, but because we're kind of on the edge of town, there isn't a lot of through traffic, and we didn't want this to be a development where it was simply another builder surrounding 20 acres by a block wall, and everybody's sort of walled off from each other. So there's a lot of openness here. There are trails. I think we figure if you add the trails on UC Merced and going out to the lake, there are 10 miles of trails that are weaved through the development. In our research, we've determined that that's the #1 master plan amenity. People want to be active. They don't just want to go and sit by a pool. They want to be active. They want to be seeing their neighbors. And as we're seeing that lots are getting smaller, people still have a need for open space and collaboration. So that's what a community recreation center is. It isn't just a park with a bunch of grass. It's a meeting place. It's a place where you can have with a commercial kitchen in it. It sort of anticipates that everybody's part of that community. I've used the characterization for that facility that it serves the same function as a country club would, but it's for everybody. So whether you're in the multifamily portion, the smaller lot portion, or the larger lot portion, that's where everybody meets. We're hoping that will be a very good piece. Speaking to what's going to be coming for you in January, because of the nature and the detail we have in the development agreement, the specific plan, we know what the lotting looks like. This specific plan got down to the lot level of detail to say, this is how big they are, this is where they're located, this is how wide the streets are. So in a great degree, the maps that have been prepared simply mimic the specific plan as it was approved and what it's contained in the development agreement and the specific plan. Again, it's been wonderful working with your staff over the past 5 years and most recently. We're here to answer any questions you might have, hoping that we can anticipate anything that might come up of concern at your meeting next month.
Thank you, Mr. Peck.
Thank you to staff, first of all. Thank you, commissioners, for hearing us. I think this is a very useful kind of thing to do prior to asking you to take action next month. So we really do want to be responsive and answer questions. The one question that I get in the community most of the time, by the way, I didn't introduce myself, sorry. Steve Teachin, Merced County Superintendent of Schools. The question I get is, well, so when are you going to start? We want you to start. Same question from UC Merced, when are you going to start? They have the challenge of plenty of square footage in their classrooms, but their enrollment is stuck at 9,000 about a year. Because when kids come to campus, they look out and they say, well, where's the party? Where do I live? Where do I go have a slice of pizza? Well, it's 7 miles away. And so that is a challenge for increasing enrollment and building the university. They've done a lot of great things. R1 is a huge deal, medical program, huge deal, but we need to build a community next to the campus. And so that's what we're trying to do. And of course, primary mission for me as the county superintendent is to build that scholarship fund. I'm only a developer on the side. I really want to see that scholarship fund grow. And so that only happens when we monetize the project by finding the right master developer that will build the project. And so we are engaged in 2 conversations right now, one with a master developer and one with a commercial expert that would develop the commercial property. And so those conversations are ongoing. It's taking a lot longer than I'd like it to. However, we want to make sure we do it right. So we're continuing to court. They're continuing to court us in terms of getting an agreement on the land, a land commitment, a land purchase, and then a development schedule for construction. And that's about as much as I can tell you, other than the fact that I expect to see a letter of intent submitted to us by one of these master developers late this week or early next before the holiday. So that's exciting. And the commercial guy is waiting for me to respond to his initial proposal with a counter proposal, and that will happen probably right after the first of the year. So things are moving on that end, and it's exciting to be part of this project, and we thank the staff for their support and hard work and rolling up their sleeves to help us get to this point.
Thank you. Commissioners, are there any questions? Again, we understand Francisco has said that the team has put a lot of time and energy into this project over the last couple of months, and we want to make sure that we get ahead of any questions before, again, you can answer questions then as well, but if there's anything that comes across, let's make sure that we get it out to them as soon as possible, given the amount of work that they put into it. Any questions at this time? No? No? Really exciting project. Again, we're going to see this, I think, come to fruition in our lifetime, Smith, So it's been a long time coming, but again, they go one and the same with UC and the development out there, so really excited for it to finally come our way. So, Kayla?
Before we continue, I did want to say that we do have a request to speak form.
Yep.
Okay. I call Ashley Marie Suarez to the podium.
Hi, Ashley.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Ashley Marie Suarez. I'm a policy advocate with Leadership Council for Justice and Accountability, and my focus is housing and land use. So this evening, I wanted to come and speak to you on this item. Although the VST project has been a long time coming, it's important to remember who this project is meant to serve. Many of the housing options are intended for students and UC affiliates, including their staff and families. And so seeing that the UC Merced has brought a lot of students from various income backgrounds to the small, developing, and growing city, it's very critical to ensure that housing development isn't only marketed as affordable, but truly is affordable. Speaking as a resident of Merced, I first came to Merced in 2019 as a UC student. After living on campus for the first 2 years, including during the pandemic, I very quickly had to find housing that was affordable. And so, unfortunately, I was able to secure a room for $300, a room that was in a garage converted home that had a kitchen, dining room, and living room all in one space. And I shared this space with my roommate and her boyfriend for most of my time there. And we were both fortunate enough to have vehicles because this was actually located in South Merced on 7th Street. And so had we not had access to our own personal transportation, I'm not sure how either of us would have been able to commute to school, not necessarily a big commute, but public transportation would not have made it easy for us to go to school, have a full-time job, and still be able to live our lives. And so that's actually a reality for a lot of the people that you're going to target this project for. A lot of people who are low-income students and families who cannot afford living in North Merced while paying tuition, while working full-time, paying other debts and bills. And so I wanted to actually put your focus on pages 36 to 37 of the VST Phase 1 and Phase 2 specific plan from October 2023 that states that under the multifamily construction program, at least 100 units will be developed for the extremely low-income households, 100 units for very low-income households, 100 for low-income households, and 75 for moderate-income households. Save for also 25 units for very low-income households in a separate mixed housing area. But that leaves a total of 400 enforceably restricted units. And then in the presentation on slide 11, it does say that the VST's affordable housing plan was to choose some sort of in lieu option for the RHNA resolution that was adopted in 2023 of October. So that means that although this project might generate $6.5 to $8.5 million in fees incurred if the developers choose to pursue the fee instead of doing the affordable housing, it might result in 150 units if we go with the in lieu fee instead of actually moving forward with the 400 affordable housing units that are enforceable. And on page 35 of the VST plan, it also states that high density and medium high density zoning provides a range of 20 to 35 units to the acre. And that's important because HCD, the city and the county's housing element, considers parcels that have at least 20 units per net acre to be suitable for low, very low income housing by virtue of lower costs, etc. But I wanted to raise to you that recommending approval and allowing this developer to pay the in lieu fee rather than actually moving forward with the affordable units is not the best option. So we recommend that you reconsider this item and ensure that there's true affordable housing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Okay, is there anybody else who wishes to speak or had any comments?
No.
No? All good? Yep. Commissioners, any other questions? All right. Does that conclude our section F, business section? Yeah, it does? Okay. We now move to item G, which is adjournment. I'll need a motion to adjourn. Oh. Oh. Sorry.
You just didn't want to hear from Sam.
I didn't. Sorry. Thank you. Item F2, Sam.
There doesn't appear to be any items scheduled for the next PC hearing. So that looks good. And then other than that, I want to say I look forward to working with everybody here. You guys asked amazing questions, and that's wonderful. And then I also have to say I'm very impressed with the staff and the way that they presented and were able to field the questions. So it just makes me that much more excited to have chosen the city of Merced to be the planning manager. So thank you, guys, and have a Merry Christmas and good night.
Thank you. And item F3 is our calendar of meeting and events. So again, it looks like our next meeting is going to be on the 17th, or that's January 7th, I'm sorry. Again, we haven't received any cancellations or anything on that. We're still good with that? Yep, yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember that there's no items for that January 7th scheduled, correct? Okay. We'll make sure to double check that information.
Okay.
May
Any updates,
I?
please? Oh, please, Johnny.
Mr. Chair? Yes, currently we have a potential tentative, like a vacation, but that may move. The other thing that we have talked about doing is additional training, but we'll work with ourselves to make sure that we can satisfy anything for you.
Okay. I think if we can get just a comment, if we can get notification, probably maybe that first week, a couple days before for planning purposes.
Right, yes.
Correct.
If we have an item, we'll definitely make sure we get that out to you.
Okay, but also if we don't have an item and if we're going to do training, also let us know as well. We'll coordinate, thank you.
Yes, the training probably won't be happening until after February.
Thank you, clarified. And then item F4, I think this is something new that we've added in, right, over the last month or so, which is a report in brief. Commissioner Greggins? Do you want to?
Yeah, no, I just, I attended an event on December 5th in a different capacity, but most staff was here. It was the R Street project. It is the tiny home project, 20 units, I believe. 10 are reserved for, to relieve the unhoused veterans, and the other 10 are for unhoused veterans. Saw the city staff there. It was good to see you guys there as well. It was a great project if you get a chance to swing by it. They took the shipping containers and converted it into living space. So I kind of put a dual role there, so it's a good day.
Awesome. I did have a comment, not on that, but I know that we also had in December a planned ribbon cutting for affordable housing for the apartment complex. Did they get that rescheduled, or that was that?
That was the one that Commissioner Greggins was referring to.
Okay, gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. Well, I got a cancellation, dude.
I was invited through my employment, not
sure.
through the council.
Thank you for
the
that.
commission.
Okay.
That's why I was doing the dual role, so.
Okay, because, yeah, I got the cancellation.
Just for the
I didn't get
record.
re-invited, so thank you for that. Thank you for attending. Yeah,
I was there for the county veteran service office.
of course, of course. Is there anything else? Anybody? No? All right, now we move on to item G, which is our adjournment.
Motion to adjourn?
We have a motion to adjourn
Second.
by Commissioner Greggins, and we have a second by Commissioner Ochoa. All in favor, please vote. And we are adjourned. Thanks, folks.